right? Even aloka cannot bear that feeling. He cannot walk. So we are the same. When sunrise is so hot, but I have to say that Sri Lankan is so super nice and kind to get all those banana leaves and make a path for us to walk. I don't know where all those banana came from, but so many of very miles and miles of banana leaves. But without water, that also can burn our feet without banana leaves, right? And so the first day I look at my brother monk, Ajahn Piya Thammo, the one who walked behind me, we both look at each other and smile. We know that, wow, this is the first time with this feeling in Sri Lanka. The first day, we don't even have time to prepare ourselves. And so we have to endure that, and we have to be mindful with that. And how did we be able to walk like that, but not feeling like angry or anything like that, even though the first day was exhausted? Because we always focus on our mindfulness practicing. When I walk, I always focus on my breathing. So if you try that, if you don't focus on one thing, all those difficulties will distract you. It will pull you off track. You can try it and you see. So always, that's why mindfulness is always applied to every activities. Walking, standing, lying down, sitting, and all activities within our daily activities. If we be able to do that, then our day will be much different. So it is so much different between Sri Lanka walk and America, because this is a Buddhist country, and all these lovely people already know how to worship the triple gems, and so much love to the point that they come out and try to grab us as well. And I have to tell you one thing, that is also not mindful. Even though those are trying because of love, because of hospitality, nothing wrong with it, nothing wrong whatsoever. It's just that we will lose the most important in this country, so that later on, if there will be another mission or some other monks who walk on the same path, it will be better for all of us. I always say to my people, and wherever I go, I always say this thing. If you sacrifice your life, you sacrifice your time, your money, your family, everything, to come to the temple, to come to support one of the mission, always have to bring home peace and merit. If you come home with anger, unhappy, suffer, then don't do it. Don't waste your time. Because all those time you could do something better. Right? So I hope that this message is clear for all of us, so that we can learn and then we can change that later on. And we still love you all, even though sometimes it is very stressful when people try to grab the monks, but it's still understandable, and we still love you all. Thank you.
Venerable Bhante, I'm Dinit Hatarasinghe from University of Colombo, Faculty of Medicine. So as a practicing doctor, like one day, so patients come to us and we give medicines and we cure the physical disease in them. It's true, one shouldn't be attached to the patient, but we give a medicine and cure the physical disease, but still our patients are suffering in this cycle with no discoverable beginning, samsara. So that constant thought in my mind is that we are curing the physical disease, but we are not actually helping them to escape from samsara. There's that dilemma in my mind. So am I actually curing them, or am I just curing them temporarily? So that's the thought in my mind. Bhante, how would you advise me?
The Buddha have taught us 84,000 Dhammakanda. That's the best medicine ever in this world that is suitable for each and every single being. And of course, you are practicing in the medical field. All you can provide is medicines, which we are all taking it. The difference is there are some type of medicines, instead of curing, they try to keep that illness kind of longer period of times to gain more benefits and things like that. So there are different mindset when we make medicines, right? It's different. We cannot speak on all of those, but because of all those medicines can help people ease their illness, which is bring peace to their body, right? They are not suffer because of that pain. Like when we walk, without medicine, we cannot walk that much because of painful. That is why we need you. That's why we need doctor and nurse and all those kind of medicines. But we have to be mindful when using the medicine and providing the medicines in the right way so that we don't commit into bad karma. That is the most important thing. Now come to the mind. The medicines is just to cure this physical illness, but the mind illness is the most important thing that medicine cannot cure. That is why the Buddha is being born to show us all those medicines. Just like one time when there's a venerable monk, he was really bad in memorizing. Within one vasu, 3 months of Rani retreat, he could not memorize the sutta, very short. And then he realized nirvana. He realized and he became enlightened because of seeing this from the white cloth, it changed in the color because of this rubbing, right? That is the best medicine that's suitable for him, but it doesn't mean that it's for all of us. And there's a lady who Buddha told her to go to take a shower and then the water coming down to the feet and she became enlightened. So all those technique is based on the parami that we have. If we have good parami, we could enlighten just listening to one of the stanza. We can become enlightened right away. That's why Buddha said, if you are wise enough, practice diligently mindfulness technique. Within 7 days, the fastest you can gain to nirvana stage. Slower, 7 months. Slower, 7 years. But we will go there regardless. If we want to get out of this samsara, then we have to practice diligently. So mindfulness is what we really need to cure this samsara sickness. Because when we listen to the Dhamma talk itself, that cannot save our life. We cannot become enlightened just to listen to the Dhammakanda without practicing. If we just listen to the Dhamma and then go home back to normal, then we keep on repeating ourselves life after life. That is why when we listen to the Dhamma, we have to take that into action and practice. That is the way to cure this mind, to get out of this samsara. So it all depends on all of us. Now let's say if you like to meditate, then that is suitable for you on sitting meditation, like you are sitting like full lotus right now. That is best for you, but not for the others. But maybe she would do loving kindness, then she keep on practicing loving kindness. One day she will realize something, right?
Thank you, Venerable Thero. We do have a young...
Permission from your Venerable Monk. I am Marshanika. I am from Higher National Diploma in Engineering, Colombo. What is the essence of Buddha's philosophy as you understand it?
I believe she's asking what is the essence of Buddha's philosophy.
It's very simple. Like we already understand, we already know that Buddhism is not a religion. It is a philosophy, the way of life. The way of life, the way of living. That is why we have to practice to see the truth of this samsara. We have to understand it right. Otherwise, we keep on repeating ourselves into the religious thing. We are repeating ourselves like that, generation after generation. That is why our Buddhism is become one of the religion in the world who also practicing all these spiritual things, not just in Vietnam, not just Sri Lanka, Thailand, and everywhere now happen the same thing. So the way of life is how we live mindfully, how we live with kindness, compassion, and how we bring peace to ourselves and the others. Just imagine if you practice loving kindness, all those people surround you will love to be around you. But if you don't practice loving kindness and you always have an anger mind, then the people around you, they will leave one after another. Right? Let's say in this crowd right here, when I talk, when I try to deliver my message, if I'm with the angry mind, would you stay here and listen? Of course not. It's because I'm making it fun, first. Secondly, I'm still mindful on my speech. And this is the truth that I want to share with loving kindness. That is why this energy brought you back together and keep you staying here. So, in the village where we live, if there's a one thief or one person who commit into a really bad karma, then of course all the people around always have to watch out from him, and then we scare as well. But if there's a person who lived peacefully and always brought peace and happiness to the people around in that village, of course we all always wanted to be around him, that person. So practicing the way of living in this life for ourselves and for the others, that is the Buddha teachings. How to liberate all kind of sufferings. Once we are not suffer, we don't want the others to suffer as well. Because we understand the suffering, the root of it, and we are afraid of all those. So we understand that all the beings are also the same. That is why the Buddha born to teach us, to show us the way, show us the path. But again, he said, don't listen, don't believe in what I said yet. You have to take that into action. Practice it. Once you practice, you get the result. Now you choose to believe, to follow or not. And of course, the Buddha cannot drag you along that path. He already saw this path will lead you to happiness, and this path will lead you to suffering, samsara. Whichever path you want to walk on is totally up to you. He cannot take your hand and drag you along. Can never do that. So the way of life, the way of living in this world, we have to do something for ourselves first before you can help the others. But live peacefully and happily and practice the Buddha teaching to liberate all kinds of sufferings.
Thank you very much, Venerable Thero. We've been talking about kindness and empathy. We've stressed on those two qualities so much, and I believe all of you here are young leaders, and of course, a leader should always be kind and empathetic. Those are two qualities that a leader must have. And of course, we have Mr. S.C. Veerasekara with us, who has been a great leader for many years, leading different groups in different companies. I'd like to ask you, how important is it for a leader to be kind and empathetic towards those around him?
Avasarai Venerable Theros, Theruvan Saranai. I don't think there could be any leader in the absence of kindness, compassion. Because, why you call a leader? Because you always look out for the person to have some assistance, help, motivation, guidance, all these things that we expect from a leader. So why are we calling a leader? I mean, we have this Western teaching of, differentiating boss from a leader. So that leader, as per Buddhism, is someone who can look up and, have some empathy that he or she would help you to develop yourself. So that I'm sure that in the absence of kindness, compassion, there is no leadership. Thank you. Theruvan Saranai.
Thank you very much, Mr. Veerasekara. Venerable Thero, you have been leading a group of the Mahasangha throughout this peace walk, and you have also witnessed so many devotees from different countries also coming in to support this global mission. What is your thought on this, about how every leader in each country, whatever the position that you may hold, whatever the group of people that you may lead, how important is it to be kind and empathetic towards those following you?
Many people call me a leader of Walk for Peace, and I say, no, I'm not a leader. I'm just a person who walk in front to receive a lot of things, but I go eat after everyone. I go sleep after everyone, and everything after everyone. So nothing good about leadership. And so when we walk that far, and there's so many people ask, can we do it yearly in the United States? And now after that, the walk in the United States, and there's different countries also invited us to come to walk. They always say that we are suffer too, not just United States. So can you come and walk in our country? I said, right now, I'm focusing starting the Dhammacharya project, the men's stupa this year, the next year. And so if we have the chance in the future, we will continue this walk for peace to support the people around the world if possible. But we are not committing in anything, because I don't know tomorrow. I don't want to promise and then I break my promise to you all. And so the message that I share, that even though we already ended the journey in Washington, D.C., by the White House area, but this Walk for Peace journey is just a starting. It's not ends yet. Why? It's because we have to walk every day. And I told the crowd the story of mine. I say, I am one of the firefly. And I just fly here and there. Wherever I fly, I want all of these fireflies to join me with one of my little bitty lights. Cannot shine the whole world, right? But imagine if all the people in this country, in this crowd right now, add that light together, we can shine the whole country. And that is what I really want. And I'm hoping that it will happen that way, because we suffer too much already. We want something better, and we deserve better. We don't have to be like this. We don't have to suffer like this when we've been born. To become a human, and we still suffer a lot. So wherever I go, I really hope that all the people who I meet along the road will join me in this mission to walk with me in spirit by practicing mindfulness every day. That by practicing the message that I share every time, today is going to be my peaceful day. That all you need to do is just write that statement down every morning when we wake up. Why it's so important when it's so simple is because when our mind is vacant, when our mind has nothing to do, it will automatically pick up all the trash to chew it over and over. What are the trash? Trash means all those defilements, suffering, unhappy, and everything. I call those are trash. Everything in here. So when the mind is empty, nothing else to do, it will pick up all those to think it over and over. That is when we are overwhelmed with thoughts, and that is when we suffer. So before the mind picking up all those trash, we don't let it. We don't let it. We give ourselves a chance to be better. By getting a piece of paper out, write out the statement, today is going to be my peaceful day. It's very simple. Write that down. When the mind with the hand is pairing it with each other, by writing that, you are practicing mindfulness. And then you read it over and over with your eyes. Now your eyes and your mind is pairing with each other, practicing mindfulness, concentration. Now, say it out loud. Today is going to be my peaceful day. I want you to repeat when I count to 3, loud and clear, okay? Today is going to be my peaceful day. 1, 2, and 3. I want to hear you louder. One more time. You imagine that energy, if all the people in this country and around the world repeat the same thing in every morning, what's going to happen? It's because we already has been spread hate, anger, delusion, greed, and all kind of hateful things to the universe. And what goes around will comes around. That is why we've been receiving so much disasters. Suffer. Now instead of continue throwing all those hatred and hateful things into the universe, we only throw loving kindness, compassion, and peace message to the universe. So that the universe will return back with full of peace, happiness, and everything. This world will become a better place to live. Peace will be flourished throughout this universe. By practicing that simple message every day. Because when we get ourselves ready for the day with that message, it will remind us throughout the day and effectively.
Thank you very much, Venerable Thero. We will move on to one more question. I believe, yes, we had someone from the back.
Venerable Pannakara Thero.
The midday sun in Sri Lanka possesses a weight that cannot be captured in photographs. It presses down upon the earth, turning the paved roads into rivers of shimmering, radiating heat. For the monastics and laypeople engaged in the walk for peace, this was not merely a meteorological inconvenience, it was a profound physical trial. The asphalt burned beneath their bare feet, testing the absolute limits of their endurance. Even Aloka, the resilient peace dog who had accompanied the walkers through countless miles, found himself overwhelmed, panting and unable to bear the searing ground. When an animal driven by deep survival instincts can no longer push forward, the true severity of the environment becomes undeniably clear. This was the landscape of the journey, a stark contrast to the temperate climates of the West, and a crucible that demanded something far deeper than mere physical stamina. It was here, amidst the blistering heat and the stifling air, that the core philosophy of the journey was brought into sharpest focus. The walk for peace was never simply a test of athletic endurance or a symbolic gesture. It was an active, grueling confrontation with the nature of suffering, or samsara, and a living demonstration of how mindfulness can anchor the human spirit in the center of a storm. Instead of yielding to frustration or despair, the response of the monastics to this physical torment was profoundly quiet. In the thick of the exhaustion, Bhikkhu Pannakara looked back at his brother monks, including Ven Phiathamo, Ven Onetta Mingsisapan, and Ven Thirasak. They did not exchange words of complaint or strategize a retreat. They simply looked at each other and smiled. That single, fleeting expression encapsulated a lifetime of spiritual conditioning. It was a smile of radical acceptance, an acknowledgement of the intense discomfort without the agonizing layer of mental resistance. This is the essence of mindfulness in motion. To a Western observer accustomed to quick fixes and the avoidance of pain at all costs, this reaction might seem incomprehensible. Yet, it reveals a fundamental truth about human suffering. Pain is inevitable, but the mental anguish that accompanies it is optional. The technique they employed was as ancient as it is accessible, focusing entirely on the rhythm of the breath. When the mind is anchored to the present moment through inhalation and exhalation, the overwhelming sensory input of the burning road and the exhausted body loses its power to distract and agitate. Mindfulness, as demonstrated on that blistering road, is not a passive state achieved only in the quiet corners of a meditation hall. It is a fierce, active tool used to navigate the most grueling physical realities without surrendering to anger or despair. As the physical environment threatened to break their resolve, an unexpected source of relief materialized, revealing a different kind of challenge. The people of Sri Lanka, a nation deeply rooted in devotion to the Triple Gem, responded to the monks' suffering with an outpouring of overwhelming compassion. Miles of fresh, cooling banana leaves were suddenly laid across the burning asphalt, a makeshift green carpet forged by communal love. It was a staggering display of hospitality, saving their blistering feet from the unforgiving road. However, this intense devotion brought its own set of complications. Driven by deep reverence and a desperate desire for connection, crowds surged forward, reaching out to grab and touch the passing monastics, such as Ven Panchai Kamyum and Ven Nadapol. This intense physical pressure, though born of pure adoration, created a highly stressful and chaotic environment. It presented a delicate spiritual dilemma. How does one receive overwhelming, chaotic love without losing one's own center? Bhikkhu Pannakara's reflection on this phenomenon is a masterful lesson in emotional boundaries and the true purpose of spiritual action. He acknowledged the purity of the people's intentions. There was nothing inherently wrong with their desire to connect, but he recognized that the resulting chaos threatened the very peace they were walking to promote. His message to his followers, and to anyone engaging in acts of devotion or charity, was unequivocal. If you sacrifice your time, your money, and your physical comfort to support a cause, but you return home filled with stress, frustration, or anger, the effort has been wasted. The ultimate metric of a good deed is not the physical action itself, but the inner peace and merit you cultivate and carry back into your daily life. This intersection of physical reality and spiritual intent naturally gives rise to deeper questions about how we heal the human condition, a theme poignantly raised by a medical doctor from the University of Colombo who had joined the gathering. The doctor voiced a profound existential dilemma familiar to many in the healing professions. Western medicine can mend broken bones, fight infections, and alleviate physical pain, but it cannot cure the underlying, chronic suffering of the human mind trapped in the cycle of samsara. He cured his patients' bodies, but watched them remain ensnared in mental anguish, leaving him wondering if his healing was ultimately an illusion. The monastic response to this physician beautifully bridged the gap between the physical and the metaphysical. Physical medicine is a vital necessity. It calms the body so that the individual can function, just as the banana leaves cooled the monks' feet so they could continue to walk. But physical relief is only the prerequisite for true healing. The Buddha, described in this context as the ultimate physician, offered a different kind of pharmacy, the 84,000 Dhammakhanda, or teachings. Just as a doctor would never prescribe the exact same medication for every physical ailment, these spiritual teachings are highly personalized. What cures one mind might not cure another. For some, sitting in silent meditation is the precise remedy required. For others, like Ven Deshamna Hamproma and Ven Ratanazik Chauyad, the active practice of loving kindness is the medicine that will ultimately break the fever of their suffering. The journey out of samsara requires the individual to take the medicine through diligent practice, an endeavor that demands both the precise diagnosis of the self and the unwavering commitment to the prescribed path. To guide others along this highly individualized path of healing requires a specific, elevated form of leadership, one that stands in stark contrast to the often ruthless, results-driven models celebrated in modern corporate culture. During the journey, discussions with lay leaders highlighted the absolute necessity of empathy and compassion in guiding human beings. A true leader is not defined by their ability to command or extract productivity, but by their capacity to uplift, motivate, and understand those they lead. Bhikkhu Pannakara, however, took this concept a step further, radically redefining his own role in the global movement. When praised as the leader of the Walk for Peace, he gently but firmly rejected the title. He described himself merely as the person who happens to walk in the front to receive whatever hardships come first. He eats after everyone else has eaten. He sleeps after everyone else has found rest. This is the epitome of servant leadership, a philosophy where the leader acts as a protective shield and a tireless servant to the community. By stripping away the ego associated with titles and power, leadership is reduced to its purest form, the willingness to endure discomfort so that others might find their way safely. It is a quiet, powerful inversion of the traditional hierarchy, proving that the most profound influence is achieved not through dominance, but through radical, selfless service to the collective well-being. This ethos of humble, collective action leads directly into the broader vision for the Walk for Peace, a movement that did not truly end when the physical walking ceased near the steps of the White House in Washington, D.C. The conclusion of the geographic route was merely the preamble to a much larger, global awakening. To illustrate this, the beautiful metaphor of the firefly was offered to the crowds. A single firefly, navigating the vast darkness of a dense forest, produces a light that is seemingly insignificant. It cannot illuminate the world on its own. However, if millions of fireflies gather, their combined, tiny lights can shatter the darkness and illuminate an entire country. The monk viewed himself not as a blazing sun, but simply as one firefly, inviting others to ignite their own small lights. In a world deeply exhausted by conflict, division, and the relentless hum of anxiety, humanity is desperate for a new way of existing. We suffer too much, and we deserve better. The physical walk across continents was designed to be a catalyst, an invitation for people from all walks of life, regardless of geography or ideology, to join the movement in spirit. By taking up the mantle of peace in their own communities, the followers transform a localized event into a global shift in consciousness, proving that monumental change is never the result of one towering figure, but the aggregate of countless ordinary people choosing to emit a different kind of energy. The transformation from a single firefly to a blazing collective light does not happen by accident. It requires a deliberate, daily rewiring of the human mind. The human brain, when left idle, is a remarkably efficient scavenger. Without a designated focus, it automatically wanders into the past to retrieve regrets or projects into the future to manufacture anxieties, gathering what the monastics refer to as the trash of defilements, greed, and anger. To prevent the mind from chewing on this toxic debris, one must give it a specific, uplifting task the moment the day begins. The ultimate lesson of the Walk for Peace is distilled into an incredibly simple, yet profoundly transformative morning routine. Upon waking, before the mind has a chance to accumulate its daily anxieties, one must take a piece of paper and write down a single statement: "Today is going to be my peaceful day." This is not a passive wish, but an active alignment of the senses. By writing it, the hand and mind are paired in mindfulness. By reading it, the eyes and the mind lock into concentration. By speaking it aloud, the vibration of the voice sets the intention for the hours to come. We have spent centuries hurling the energy of anger, division, and stress into the universe, and we are currently reaping the disastrous, chaotic harvest of those actions. The universe acts as a flawless mirror. If millions of people begin their day by intentionally broadcasting the frequency of peace and loving kindness, the mirror has no choice but to reflect that peace back into the world. The journey that burned the feet in Sri Lanka ultimately leads to this quiet, revolutionary act in the living rooms of the world: the daily, conscious decision to simply be a vessel of peace, transforming the human experience one morning, one breath, and one single day at a time.